It is Thursday, December 28th, 2023. This is another off-season edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. First of all, kick-ass shirt. For people that are just joining us audio only, Plouffe is wearing Women Belong in Sports t-shirt. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, we sell this shop.johnboymedia.com. And I was in my closet today as I do in the mornings getting ready for the show, and I said this was calling my name today. Um so I put it on. It
And
does
I
look
call
good.
it does look well, on you, you're our male model. You are our Kevin Kiermaier, whom we will talk about momentarily. It is amazing, by the way. Every time I see him, I see you. Is that weird?
No, it's not. We get that a lot. I think Kev's probably more like I don't mean to call him a pretty boy, but he's prettier than I am. He's more like classically handsome, better
Or you-
jawline, all that stuff. We have some of the same features though. I see that.
Interesting. We might have to put that out for social media to
Okay.
do a little
Yeah.
vote.
He knows he's a good-looking guy. He knows.
Who's who's more rugged in the baseball world, Kiermaier or Plouffe? Can feel it now. We'll get to that in just a bit. But let's get
Okay.
to the second biggest story of this offseason, and the Dodgers continue to hoard the headlines. It became official on Wednesday when Yoshinobu Yamamoto officially became a Dodger for the next 12 years and $325 million. He had his introductory news conference, and I think he shocked the world with the way that he kicked it off.
Good afternoon. My name is Yoshinobu Yamamoto of the LA Dodgers. I am beyond ecstatic to become a member of this historic franchise and cannot express how much it means to me to be able to call Los Angeles my new home.
How much of a factor was Shohei in your decision to sign with the Dodgers? Like, if he had signed elsewhere, would you have strongly considered that as well?
I wouldn't say he was the sole reason I decided to come here. Even if he went somewhere else, I probably still would have ended up in LA as a Dodger. But on top of that, Shohei is obviously not only just one of the best Japanese players, but he's one of the best players, period, in all of MLB. And so to be able to play with him from here on out definitely means a lot to him.
All right, before we get to the topic at hand, a round of applause for him. This is the second time this offseason we've seen a player from the Far East. Jung-Hoo Lee of the Giants was the first one to come out and give an introductory statement in English. And man, for anybody who has taken a foreign language, and I've taken three of them and stink at all three, I almost want to stand up and applaud.
100%, especially because like the Japanese language and English is just so different. If I went over to Japan, there's no way I might be able to say like hello, what's up, in Japanese, but to do an entire paragraph, an introductory paragraph like that is very impressive. I do want to know, Chris, does Yamamoto's interpreter have the same sort of job protection as Ippei does?
eBay.
Because, dude, if I'm an interpreter, I'm like, hey, man, did you see what Shohei did for him?
Yeah. By the way, that dude's a stud. Like we were
He looks
watching
good.
yesterday. Michelle's like, "Who's that?" I was like, "That's Yamamoto's interpreter." It's
He
like
kind of looks like a
blends it.
security guard too. Like he'll
He
rough
does.
you up, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about a guy who has the richest contract of any starting pitcher in Major League history without ever having thrown a baseball over here at the Major League level. So, what does he have to do during his Dodger career in order to justify this contract?
This is such a loaded, strange question. I don't like answering these. I'm going to give you one though, see Rosie. I'm going to say that he number one has to stay healthy for the most part. Like just pitch some games. Like go make whatever amount of starts they're allotting you, whether that's 33 or whether that's 26, whatever they want you to make, go make those starts. And I think a big thing for the Dodgers, and look, even the best of the best the Dodgers have to offer come under scrutiny during what time, see Rosie? The playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to go win some big games. He needs to be a guy that goes out there and whether he's the one, the two, the three, like go put up when it's your time to shine under the bright lights of the playoffs. He's got to go do that. I think that will justify the contract more than anything he does in the regular season. I don't care about Cy. I mean, I do care about Cy Youngs. I'm not putting those totally aside, but I think for Dodger fans, they want to see a guy go out there in the playoffs and help them bring a ship back home. That's really all this is about. Go out there and perform when the lights are the brightest. I think that will justify the deal more than anything else that he does during the regular season. So I think he's got to be prepared for that because that's what Dodger fans want.
I think that's fair. I don't think you can look at it in terms of individual honors because there are guys like Mike Mussina and Nolan Ryan who are Hall of Fame pitchers who never won the Cy Young Award. And maybe that wasn't because it's not because their numbers didn't justify it. It's maybe somebody just had a slightly better season. That's all. So it's not like you can play defense against another Cy Young candidate. So I think that stuff gets pushed off to the side. I think you nailed it. And I'm going to use a guy who was signed by the San Francisco Giants 13 years ago, and that was Barry Zito, who was a Cy Young Award winner when he was brought over from one Bay Area team to another. And I think if you were to ask most people, did Zito live up to his $100+ million contract, which at the time he seemed like, yeah, $100 million. But at the time when he signed it, that was big time dough. And I think most people will say no, right? I think in 2010, he wasn't even on the playoff roster when they won their first world championship. And then in 2012, he pitched arguably the most important game of the postseason, Game 5 in St. Louis in the NLCS. He got the series back to San Francisco. They ended up winning 6-7 in the rain with Marco Scutaro doing the whole Shawshank Redemption scene, right? And I think that one game may have justified his contract. Like if you were to ask Giants fans, did he do enough? I think that one game was enough. Now, here we're talking about a deal that blows Zito's out of the water. It's $200 million more. But yeah, he's going to have to help them win rings. He can't just be on the roster. He has to help them. He has to create a moment. Make a moment.
If I was to tell you what's the first thing Dodger fans think of when they think of Clayton Kershaw, what do you say?
Blown playoffs?
Yeah, and that's not fair, really, but that's what it is. I mean, this guy's been like the left-handed pitcher of our generation, C. Rosie. But that's what people talk about. Like, hey, he hasn't been great in the playoffs. And that's what, when you play for a city like Los Angeles or a franchise like the Dodgers, who, don't really care about the regular season anymore, like that's what it comes down to. So, yeah, I really believe it's going to come down to that. How do you perform in the playoffs?
I don't think it's unfair. I really don't.
Yeah, if you get that money, yeah. I mean, look, you can put all the pressure in the world on this guy. Like that's what comes with these type of contracts.
Yep. I think we're in agreement there. All right, so the Dodgers have pretty much hoarded the headlines this offseason. The next big name franchise that will strike on the hot stove will be.
So I think it's going to be the Giants, but hopefully you're going to talk about them or another big market team, quote unquote, because they're all big market teams in my eyes. You're not? Okay. Well, I think the Giants will. So that's like kind of my 1A answer. I think Matt Chapman like really fits there, and I think that might be someone they pursue. But I think the Reds need to make some noise, and that's who I want to talk about. Did you do the same team?
I did not, but
okay, good. I think the Reds need to make some noise. See, Rose, how many times did we get on the show last year and say, you guys need some starting pitching? And Reds fans are, have you seen how we're playing lately, bro? We don't need anything. We got Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green, and Abbott just came out. We're like, okay, I get it, but these are all young guys. Like we need some stability in that rotation. They got a great squad there. They can do a lot of really fun things on the baseball field, but I believe they finished with the third worst rotation ERA in all of baseball last year. The young guys are great. They're going to get better. But you need a veteran that's been there, done that in that rotation. So go get you a Dylan Cease. Like, go trade for that guy. Put him in your rotation and see what happens. Like, you got to go make some moves if you're the Reds. Like, I know they don't like their ownership. Fine. Hey, ownership, you know how you get in the good graces with the fan base? Go out and sign someone or trade for someone that's going to make your team better on the field. The NL Central is wide open right now. We say that about all these other divisions. The NL Central may be the most wide open division in all of baseball. And if you go and swing a trade or go sign someone, you might be the favorites in the division. Like, go do that. I think they have to make something happen before the season starts, Chris. I really do.
Well, in fairness, they did go out and sign Nick Martinez, who is a guy that you can put in your rotation or use as a swing guy. They did sign Emilio Pagan, who I think will add some depth to that bullpen, a veteran presence.
Candelario.
So they have made some moves here, which is why I'd like to talk about another team in the Central.
Wait, they have made the move, though, C. Rosie.
I would agree with you that I think that I think they're set up perfectly because they've got so many young position players that other teams would covet that if you don't want to go sign Blake Snell, which neither of us would expect him to end up in a place like Cincinnati just because of the financial restrictions, they could trade for a Dylan Cease or somebody else out there that's got time left on their deal. And you give up prospects. You give up guys that have been here already, but maybe, you're doubling up at certain positions. So, yeah, that would make perfect sense. You're in the right neighborhood.
Okay.
I cannot believe that the Chicago Cubs haven't done a damn thing this offseason. What? Am I missing something here? You go out and you pay Craig Counsell to be the wealthiest manager in the history of the sport. You pay him $8 million a year to bring him in from Milwaukee. And I thought, boy, they were going to be ready to take off, right? They had a really nice year last year. They were in contention the entire season. Now, I don't know if that means bringing Cody Bellinger back. I don't know if that means adding more to the pitching staff. But I know that your farm system's really good. But come on. What in the world are we waiting for?
Maybe they're playing the waiting game and just seeing, what kind of falls into their lap. But I don't necessarily agree with that sort of strategy during the offseason. I'm a guy that's like, hey, let's go make these offers now. Let's let these guys know we're interested in them. I did not go through like a traditional free agency. I was a free agent. I'll tell you what, it means something to players if you're like, hey, we want you. Like it really does mean something. Like if you have a couple different offers and it just seems like, I don't know if like, where I stand. Yeah, they're offering me to come play for them, but the teams that say we really want you, we want you to come play for us, that makes a difference. So, for all the teams that want to wait around and kind of see, oh, this guy's going to sign here, that changes the market, maybe it puts it back into our favor with the leverage. Like, don't do that. Go out there and make the offers, be the aggressor, because I really believe look, baseball players, athletes, they want to feel loved just like anybody. So if you go do that and make it known that you want them to play for you, it's not necessarily you giving up your leverage. It's making you at the forefront of an athlete's mind, to be honest with you. So, I agree. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It is – I keep forgetting that Craig Counsell went there. Like, just seems to me like he was going to be a Brewer forever. Yeah, he is there. Go give him some players, man. And, like, I guess I don't know who it could be. Because Belly makes sense, but they had Belly last year. Like, what else can they do to switch it up? Because, like I said, that NL Central is wide open, C. Rose.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about what the Reds did. The Cardinals added 3 pitchers, Sonny Gray heading the list. They also added Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn. Heck, even the Pirates traded for Marco Gonzalez, right? They brought in Rowdy Tellez. They brought back Kutch. So at least teams are doing something in that division. Except Milwaukee, they're kind of standing pat, and they've subtracted a couple names, but we'll see if they do anything. But come on, Cubs.
Ooh, I got another one. And what? I saw, I believe it was Chris Young talk about this, talk about the Orioles and who would make perfect sense. And it was Marcus Stroman on the Orioles. It makes perfect sense. I love that move. I was just watching. He was just talking about. I was like, dude, that's like, how is nobody really? I haven't really heard that. With at least the people I follow on social media, I think that's the perfect fit.
Good one. But back to Chicago, doesn't the song say "Go Cubs Go"?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, let's go. Heed your own advice. Look at the T-shirts.
Make Eddie Vedder happy.
Yeah, he's fine. By the way, I think he's doing just fine.
I think he's really happy with his life.
All right, let's move on to your baseball doppelganger, Kevin Kiermaier. He ain't going anywhere except back to the 6 for 1 year and $10.5 million. Dude seems happy.
Blue Jay fans, what's up, baby? The rumors are true. I'm coming back. I cannot wait. I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled to be a Blue Jay again.
He doesn't only look like you, he talks like you,
No,
too.
he doesn't. No.
Yes, he does. What's up, baby?
What's up, baby? He's better looking to me. Every time I see him, like you guys, he's got like the baby blue eyes. Mine are green. Last year I saw him, C. Rose. I think I've said this on the show before. His legs were out of this world, dude. Thighs like you read about. Olivia's telling me I got to get back in the gym and start squatting again. So that's motivation for me right there.
All right. Once again, this show is not turned into a Kevin Kiermaier love fest, although it seems like it. The question is that the Jays have reportedly been flirting with Cody Bellinger this offseason. Does the re-signing of Kiermaier now feel like that is over? And if so, is that a mistake?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all, to be honest with you. Because Belly, what do we always talk about with Belly? He's versatile. He can play, Gold Glove outfield or Gold Glove first base. So,
where are you going to put him in the outfield? You've got Springer, Kiermaier, Varsho. That's a pretty good defensive out.
Yeah. So what?
Beat it?
Kiermaier's. You can have 4 guys in the outfield. Varsho, look at his offensive stats last year.
I know, but
not very good.
They were not very good. But they made a big trade with Arizona that's looking very one-sided right now, and they're not going to want to swallow on that one.
I think you have to sometimes
swallow their pride on that one.
Sometimes you got to make a move. See, Rosie, so what? Okay? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to place Bellinger in the outfield. You can put Vladdy at DH. You can put Belly at DH. You can do all these different things. What?
Vladdy's a good defensive first baseman.
Rose, it's okay to have more than enough good players on a roster. People are going to get hurt. You need to give off days. Again, you have the DH so you can move these guys around. I don't think it should take him out of the Bellinger race. I would love to see a Kiermaier, Bellinger, George Springer outfield with Dalton Varsho there too. These guys, it would be amazing for them. And you know what? Like, I love the run prevention. They've been talking about the offense of the Toronto Blue Jays for so long. Like, they have a very solid defensive team as well, and this would just add to it. So I don't think it should take them out of the race at all. In fact, I think they should still be heavily pursuing Cody Bellinger. They can make moves. You can move the roster around. You can move the lineup around. Vladdy doesn't need to be at first base every single day. He just doesn't.
But what are
Bellinger's the perfect guy for that?
What are Bellinger's 2 best positions?
Center field and first base.
You've already got guys that are significantly above average defensively at those 2 spots. So why in the world, they don't even have a third baseman right now? For example,
I don't know what you're trying to tell me right now, that you don't want to add Cody Bellinger to this roster because Dalton Varsho is there, because you traded them and maybe you feel like you missed on the trade, which I don't think they necessarily. I mean, maybe they did, but that doesn't mean you can't continue to make moves and you have to just eat or just sit there and not swallow your pride. See, Rose?
I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Do I think it's going to happen? That's a different question.
Yeah, I don't think so now. I think he ends up elsewhere. I loved the idea of having him in center, Bellinger in center, and a top of the lineup that included Springer, Bichette, Bellinger, Vladdy, and then maybe Kirk gets back to normal and Varsho starts swinging it. Like, that's a fun team. That is a fun team. That scored 1 whopping run in the playoffs against your squad. So they do need.
Okay, so that's my point. You can have all the defense in the world, but you need a guy like Bellinger who's just coming off an incredible offensive year. Why can't you add that to your lineup?
I think that they're reluctant to. Here's what I think. They've got 2 guys in that lineup right now who are going to be free agents 2 years at the same time, Bichette and Vladdy. And I think they're afraid that if they overpay Bellinger, that it's going to cost them one of those guys. That's what I think.
Okay. That's not necessarily true, but I mean, you're just not going to sign any free agents anymore?
No. This is a franchise that has spent money.
I know that.
They have spent money, right? I mean, look at obviously bringing in Springer, Kevin Gossman, Berrios. Yeah, those guys are all 9-figure guys. They paid a decent amount of money for Chris Bassett in his mid-30s. Like, they're not afraid to spend money. But
I agree.
I think at some point, I've talked about this before when those Bichette rumors were kicking around earlier this offseason, that I felt like it's because I think they're just trying to decide one or the other on Bichette and Vladdy.
Who do you choose?
I told you I would choose, but nobody agrees with me.
I choose Bichette.
I know you did, and I chose Vladdy. But I
like them both. They're great players.
Of course,
sometimes
they're
you
both
make
great.
Difficult decisions.
Yes. And that's why
Bichette
we're on this side of it.
That swing when you get the side angle of it. He's got the hair popping and the baseball pants above his knees.
Most people, by the way, the day we did that show, most people agreed with you that they would take Bichette over Vladdy. I respect that. It's not like, by the way, just because you're picking one over another doesn't, it's not the equivalent of saying, yeah, Vlad's great and Bichette sucks. That's
Oh,
not
yes, it
how,
is.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
that's how
true.
it works on social media,
You're
Chris.
right. Good point. All right, so let's move on to this. Good deal for Mitch Garver, I think. He gets 2 for 24 from Seattle, which is why I'm donning their cap today. Had a very good year in Texas for the Champs, 19 homers and 870 OPS. But does it feel like the Mariners' offseason has been a bit underwhelming?
I think it's fair to say that. We got rid of some guys, or guys left via free agency. We traded Kelnick. You traded Suarez out of there. I love the Mitch Garver signing. I think he's probably going to be the DH, I'd assume, and he can get back there behind the plate if you need him to. That's great. But there's still work to do. Like offensively, like there's still, plenty to do. Like you need, they keep saying they want a power hitting bat in the outfield. But they're trying to get rid of strikeouts, and those kind of like go hand in hand. If you got, there's very few guys that have, power that don't strike out. I mean, those are the elite of the elite hitters in baseball. So it's like kind of, you can't really say that, saying we're trying to curb strikeouts, but we want power. Like, dude, then you better you go get Juan Soto, or like you don't just find those guys growing on trees, and if you do, like they're going to cost a lot of money. So it has been underwhelming. I don't know really where they go from here and who they want to sign. But I think Mitch Garver going there for $12 million a year is a great start for them. I think this guy, and I don't really know him that personally, but I have talked hitting with him before, and he's a student of the game. And I think not only do you want him to come in there and put up the numbers that he put up last year in Texas, which you mentioned were very, very good, but I think just having him around there talking hitting and kind of showing his process, I think makes everyone a little bit better. So I think I really, really like the Mitch Garver signing, but there is still work to be done because we talk about the AL West is not wide open. The AL West is one of the best divisions in all of baseball. And we had the Mariners probably up there, 1A, 1B at some point last year, early in the season. And I don't think we can say that anymore right now.
So it was really interesting at the end of the season when the Mariners had that chance to win the division, right? They had their last 10 games. They had 7 against Texas and a series against Houston, I believe. And it didn't go great. I guess my pep talk didn't really fire up the troops the way I thought it would. And then Cal Raleigh, what did he say? He came out and he said, we need to do what the Texas Rangers have done. That's go sign some studs. Well, in fairness, the more I've thought about it, Seattle has kind of signed some studs recently.
Yes, they have.
Right? I mean, they have extended Julio, which is what you wanted to do. That's one of their studs. They also brought in a former Cy Young Award winner, Robbie Ray, and that has blown up in their face, right? He didn't pitch well, and now it's a medical issue. They traded for Luis Castillo, and they extended him. When everybody in the world wanted him, they got him. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the whole Sewald trade. I thought that kind of was a little disruptive to their team. He felt like he meant a lot, not only to the order of the bullpen, but in terms of leadership as well. So that one was kind of a head scratcher in the middle of last season. But you know what? They've got plenty of good players up there. How about we put this on the players a little bit? Now, I know that people love ripping on Dipoto. And I get it. The 54% comment is still something that does not sit well with me at all. But this team looks like it's good enough to compete. Like, there are a lot of teams that would love to have this starting rotation. Don't you agree?
I think that's where, like, their huge strength is they have a set 1 through 5 they can rely on right now. Now, they probably need some sort of starting pitching depth. I don't mean they need to go sign a front end starter, but they need some depth, I believe. I'm looking at the offense right now. I don't love it. I think Mariners fans would agree with me. So, let's go get a bat. I don't really have somebody in mind off the top of my head for them, but Dipoto loves to make trades, so go get somebody, to give that offense a little bit of a jolt. Because I'm looking right here at the numbers. I mean, league average in OBP, league average in OPS. They're 15 and 16 respectively, 12th in runs. Like, it's okay. It can be better.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of swing and miss in it last year, and that's part of what precipitated a couple of those trades, it felt like. But there are a lot of at-bats to replace between Suarez, Kelnick, even though he missed some time, and Teoscar Hernandez, who it sounds like will not be back there. So, yeah, if there is an area, I would agree with you, but I don't think it's as bad as some people have said. Like, to me, they have made enough moves in recent times where it's up to the players to go do it too.
Would you rather have the Angels offense or the Mariners offense? I know that I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. I have a hard time getting past the mental block that is Anthony Rendon there at third. Having a hard time.
It's a conversation, I think.
It is a
which is
conversation.
kind of crazy to me.
Totally.
You know, the Angels had worse overall numbers in 2023 than the Mariners, and that was with Shohei. And he's gone now, obviously. So I'm looking at the lineups, though, and I'm like,
comparable.
There's some guys that are set, awesome big leaguers, and then there's a lot of young guys that, you know, kind of like, what are you going to do? What kind of player are you going to be? I think both of those rosters are offensively are similar.
Hey, what's the Mariners outfield right now?
I have it up. We have right now listed on Fangraphs is Julio, obviously in center. They have Cade Marlowe and Canzoni, two young guys who, you know, I don't know if they can establish themselves as everyday big leaguers. Sure.
That's crazy, man. That's where they need to get better right there.
Yeah, Trammell. They traded for Taylor Trammell.
Yeah, a few years ago.
Yeah. So
I mean,
they traded for him in 2020. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's where they need to get better. That's it. We nailed it. Go fix your outfield. Go make a trade for somebody.
I'm thinking, yeah, who's available that's like a corner outfield guy right now for them?
You want to go put Adam Duvall out there for a year?
You know what would be good for them?
Huh.
I figured it out. JD Martinez, welcome to Seattle.
He can't play outfield.
So he can DH.
You just signed a DH.
Shoot.
Sorry.
I'm just thinking of guys that will bolster the offense right away.
Yeah, well,
aren't going to cost crazy.
You can't double up on DHs.
Mitch Garver,
That's the
left
one thing
field?
we can't. Yeah.
Mitch Garver, left field.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. That's not happening. So one thing had happened a bunch of days ago, but it's definitely worth bringing back. Shohei had heard that Joe Kelly's wife, Ashley, had started the entire O-Take 17 campaign to not only bring Ohtani to the LA Dodgers, but then to take her husband's number. So what did he do? He gifted her a Porsche. Great social media clip where Joe Kelly's filming his wife and showing her peering out of their front door and looking at the Porsche. Now, we found out a little bit later that Shohei's a Porsche ambassador, so we don't know exactly how much it cost him, if anything, but still the gesture's very nice. Would you be okay if another dude bought Olivia a Porsche?
This is going to test my ego a little bit here and my confidence. I would say it depends who it is. I'm going to give you a few guys that if they bought Olivia a Porsche, I'm like, okay. Kyle Gibson, go ahead and buy Olivia a Porsche. Love you, bro. Like, you could do whatever you want. Bo Bichette buys Olivia a Porsche. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that, to be honest with you. So it's levels to this. Okay, if you bought Olivia a Porsche, great. Thanks, C. Rosie. Not worried about you. If one of these young guns sends over a Porsche, I might have to think twice about what's going on in my relationship.
Oh, I got to be honest with you. Fine.
You're fine with it?
It's absolutely, believe me. I know what those things cost. I'm good. Like, maybe I can.
It's circumstantial for
hers.
me, C. Rosie. Like, if I did something to earn this Porsche for my wife, sure. But if there's just a Porsche with a red bow on it showing up and a love letter from Bo Bichette, I gotta think something's going on.
Got to be honest with you. At this time, it's just great. Save money on payments. I'm good. Enjoy it. Enjoy your little vehicle. I'm confident.
I like that. What if I sent Michelle one?
Still, believe me, she ain't going anywhere with you. I mean,
we would take that Porsche out and ride it around. Yes, we would.
Yeah. You know, it was funny. Bryce Harper one time said something. It was the first time we had him on Intentional Talk. And Millar asked a question about Rose should be worried about Michelle with Bryce Harper and he said something about showing up in his Corvette and taking her to Vegas or something weird.
Oh,
Yeah, it was very odd. This was,
very specific for Bryce.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Okay. I mean, listen, look at her and look at me. The odds of somebody coming and knocking on the door and taking her away are actually pretty good these days.
They're higher than the normal average. Yes.
Totally. Way higher. We get that. That's fine. I'm fighting a losing battle here. All right. This is what we do. When there's big stories that happen, baseball today will just pop out of anywhere. So we will be back again after the new year, unless something enormous happens with Cody Bellinger or Blake Snell over the next few days or something else. And in the meantime, everybody have a happy, healthy new year and be safe. We want to see you back here with us in 2024. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and the uber-talented Kevin Kiermaier / Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you in 2024 on Baseball Today.